Healing from narcissistic abuse is also going through a grief process. And grief is a very complex process, and it takes a lot of time, energy, and work, because you really are going from grief all the way up to acceptance. And that is a very big jump. Now, today's video was inspired by a comment left right here on the channel by Katira Love. So Katira Love writes, I grieved the attachment because I fell for that inner child in them. It was an irresistible resonance until I witnessed that child submits to a false power, whereas I only submit to love. And people, that is what you're dealing with if you are dealing with a pathological narcissist. So you hear me state often on this channel that pathological narcissists are people that have accepted an evil spirit. And the easiest way that I can explain this is to think of the proverbial devil or angel on one's shoulder. The pathological narcissists are listening to the devil or devils on their shoulder, and the angel is really no longer there. And if you think about this, like Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket, and Jiminy Cricket represents their conscience, again, that inner guidance that you have, that inner guiding light that you have, not to attack other people or not to harm others, then again, Jiminy Cricket kicked the bucket. So understand that when pathological narcissists are thinking thoughts, they are identifying with evil thoughts in their mind. For example, one person may see a pencil as a very useful tool to write a book or to write a novel or to draw a very fantastic piece of artwork. But again, in the mind of the pathological narcissist, they are going to think of that pencil as a tool, kind of like how a prisoner thinks, right? They're going to fashion that pencil into a knife to go stab someone, because again, that is their psyche. They are in touch with their lower nature, the false power. Pathological narcissists do not have access to love. So oftentimes on the channel, you hear me state that they are rooted in shame and they're unable to move past their pride. And pride cometh before the fall, so they fall right back down to shame. So they have been in this shame-pride cycle since their childhood years, and that is where they stopped developing. So when you take a look at love and empathy and kindness as a vibration, that is all the way up there in the 500s. Oftentimes, pathological narcissists have to look up to see shame because they have pathologically low self-esteem. Self-esteem so low that they would have to look up to see it. So they wake up in the first dimension, they wake up in hell, they wake up in shame, but at best, they get to the third dimension, they get to pride, and again, pride cometh before the fall, so they fall right back down to shame. And pride cometh before the fall for them because they are incapable of letting go of their pride to get to courage and these higher level emotions such as neutrality, acceptance, love, peace, and so on. So you are dealing with someone with severe psycho-spiritual arrested development. So at the level of the psyche or the personality or the soul, then these individuals are losing their minds. Pathological narcissists have a few screws loose. When it comes to their emotions, again, they're based in shame and they're unable to move past their pride. And at the level of will, you're dealing with people that are very impulsive and compulsive. And at the spirit level, well, they started to dissociate from their true spirits in childhood, and instead they identified with the false self, the false power, which we're calling the ego. And again, this is what you'll call the mask. And the mask is what they wear to deceive you, because when you take a look at the narcissistic abuse cycle, you'll see where it starts off with love bombing, also called idealization. And this is where Chucky puts on the good guy mask. So you'll hear Chucky say,
"Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi-ho!"
What this is an invitation, people, into an abuse cycle if you fall for the good guy mask, because the spirit of Chucky, people, is really the spirit of a serial killer, an evil spirit. As you go through watching Chucky, you will see where he transforms into his true self. Again, an evil, vindictive, abusive, evil doll. That is the true spirit of Chucky. But again, Chucky has to wear that mask so that you drop your guard so that he can come in and abuse you. And the cycle is idealization, devaluation, discard, and eventually they'll oftentimes try to drag their victims back into this abuse cycle because, again, pathological narcissists are based in shame and they cannot move past their pride. This is called victim abuser consciousness because they did not develop past their lower ego, which means that any relationship that you get into with a pathological narcissist will be a victim abuser type 1. So understand that on day 0, you are interacting with a mask. You are interacting with a false self. You are interacting with the figment of someone's imagination. Again, that is the good guy doll mask. It is a mask to hide the evil spirit that is actually operating the pathological narcissist. Because again, at their core, they are dark. And they are dark at the spirit level, which means that this darkness is going to spread to the mind. It is going to spread to the emotions. It is going to spread to the will. And eventually you will see this darkness, people, on the outside. And this darkness is going to manifest itself as lies, connivery, neglect, and abuse. Because pathological narcissists exist in victim abuser consciousness. So understand that abusers do not think like you. If you thought like an abuser, then you would go out and idealize and devalue and discard and hoover people. But again, you do not do that because you do not think like an abuser. Lions do not think like gazelles. Eagles do not think like vultures. Empathetic people do not think like pathological narcissists. So because you are a bright, shining star, understand that not everyone is a bright, shining star. Pathological narcissists are actually black holes. They are a dying star. And again, they are dying because they disconnected from their inner light. They disconnected from their spirit. They disconnected from source. And they have been disconnecting. They have been dissociating. They have been regressing since their childhood years. You hear me say it often here on this channel that the story of the pathological narcissist is the story of Smeagol transforming into Gollum. It is a story of devolution. It is a story of regression. It is a story of someone that is losing their humanity. And they are losing their humanity because they have identified with their mind. They have identified with the ego, and the ego is a mind-made construct. And if someone believes that they are the mind, then they are losing their minds. But not only are they losing their minds, they really are losing their entire souls. And this is why clinicians refer to this as a personality disorder. Pathological narcissists are drifting deeper and deeper and deeper into the sunken place. And this is why you really should not follow them. They are comfortable in their darkness, so it is important that you maintain your ascension by getting the courage to walk away and stay away from these toxic personality types. If you follow a pathological narcissist, you will eventually get lost yourself. And that really is the message for today, kind folks. Ensure that you are liking these videos. Ensure that you are subscribed for more empowering content. If you have any questions or feedback, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. Shika's the name. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.